What is up, everybody? Hoping this is coming through. I'm hoping everything's working properly. When I was messing around with it earlier, it looked like it's working. Welcome to Monday Night with JK Adven, and we're going to be talking a little bit about RV living, motorcycles, and pretty much traveling as far as where you might be going this year. Does anybody have any Fourth of July plans? Like, what's everybody up to and going out and doing? So, let's talk a little bit about that and go from there. Let me just shut some of these off. Sorry. And this should be the last one. Cool. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we've been doing. If you guys have plans for 4th of July, what are you guys going to be doing? Leave some information in the chat. Talk about this. This is going to be live on Facebook and YouTube right now. So I'm hoping this is coming through clear and you guys can hear me. Hopefully there's no audio issues. But let's get started. So let's talk a little bit about our trips that we've had in the last few weeks. We've had the Tennessee trip. So we went to Tennessee and we actually started doing some stuff there, going through the Smoky Mountains, checking all that kind of stuff out, and going through. And I don't know, it was kind of fun. Just driving around was more fun to us than just sitting around doing the touristy stuff. We did do some stuff where we went and did the roller coaster on the mountain. Kind of, I think it was like a 2 or 3 minute ride all the way down, which was pretty cool. But for the most part, it's more touristy stuff. They had mini golf, they had water parks, they had all that kind of stuff. For us, let's not talk about that because we don't want to go to the water parks. We don't want to go to the traditional roller coasters and all that other stuff because you can do that pretty much wherever you're at. We're more interested in checking out the area, the culture, the history, the everything that's in that area other than the touristy stuff. Now we did go check out Titanic, but that was more of a historical thing. We felt like that was a really something cool to go visit and check out some of the historical relics that they pulled up from Titanic and some of the backing and the history on some of the stuff that we didn't know about as far as some of the first class, second class, and third class passengers. They had a really cool routine when you go in there, you sign up for it, and they make you a passenger on there, and then throughout the tour, you can kind of see how they lived. You can kind of see some of the things that they did. And then at the end, you'll see if you survived or if you didn't. Now, I think that's kind of cool because then you can kind of see, I was a first class passenger. I didn't survive. My wife was a third class passenger. Sorry. And she survived right along with my sons. They both survived as well, too. So that tells you that just because you're in first class doesn't mean you're always going to live. It doesn't mean that's always going to be the case. So always be humble in life as far as what you're doing and go from there. So also, we got some other stuff coming up. We got Thursday night. We're going to be dropping a video. It's typically for Moto Thursday, but we're trying to share some of our content videos since we're doing Monday night lives to talk a little bit about some of the stuff we're doing. And right now, we are back in Florida, Alabama, what do you want to call it? We work in Florida, but we live in Alabama. So we are back from there. We were in Utah for a little bit. So if you guys are following along, you guys saw the Instagram, Facebook post where we went to go see the bike riders, which must say that is a definite movie you want to go see. If you guys are into bikes at all, it doesn't matter if it's a Harley, it doesn't matter whether it's Indian, it doesn't matter if it's a sport bike, whatever. Go check out that movie. Support Hollywood on that because I feel like if you start doing that and we start supporting some of these videos or movies that we're going to be making, they're going to try to build more of that culture. And we don't have a lot of motorcycle videos out there. We got video movies out there. We got some out there. One of them that we watched, I kept hearing it on Fast Life on the podcast. So I wanted to go watch it, was Streets of Fire. Old movie, but super, super cheesy in some areas, but it was a good movie, I felt like. Never really heard about it, so I wanted to go check it out, see what it was all about, and I thought it was something kind of cool. Just like some of the other movies out there, where there's all sorts of other Hollywood movies out there, they kind of revolve a little bit around bikes, but this is the first one that actually talks about more of how a motorcycle gang was formed and how they became the one percenters they are today. Now, as far as how true everything was 100%, I haven't fact checked a lot of that stuff, but it was based off of a book, The Bike Riders. where a photographer and reporter basically followed these guys around as they first started doing this back in the 60s, developing this. They first started as a racing club, and then branched out to a writing club and turned into the Vangles, where they are actually a 1%er club now, and I think they still ride in most states, and they're still out there. So definitely a nice history, nice background as far as how they got to that point, what they are now. Um, so yeah, if you guys are interested, go check it out. And if you guys haven't listened to it, listen to some of the podcasts on Fast Life. They talk a little bit more about it. They actually interview one of the guys that actually built some of the bikes for the movie, and some of the shovel head and pan heads and stuff like that they put in there, and that was really cool how they put all that together. So but yeah, we basically came back from Tennessee. We had that generator issue. I thought I had it all kind of worked out before we left. As you guys, if you haven't seen it, check it out on the video. I'm not sure where it's going to add up on this, but I'll add it later on a card. This is the live right now, so if you guys haven't checked that, go check it out on the YouTube channel. We got some in the intro as far as did the generator get fixed? We don't know. I can tell you it did not fix it. I thought I was going to have everything worked out with the sensor. I thought the fluid and everything getting all flushed out, make sure there's no bubbles, make sure there are no issues. None of that was the case. After further digging, I did check the belt the first time. A lot of people are going to be like, well, just check the belt. Well, I did. After further digging into it, even though the belt was tight, and after I checked it a little bit, it was stretching more and more. The fan blade was just super loose. So long story short, we tightened it up on the way out to Salt Lake City, and it worked for a little bit. I think it ran for what, about 8 hours? I think about 8 hours. It ran on the way out there, so we saw some light at the end of the tunnel, and then it stopped working again. And that light quickly collapsed on us, and we're like, oh, what are we gonna do? So we get to Salt Lake City. Long story short, I take a break from it. I do some work, take care of what I need to for my job. Saturday rolls around, I tear it all apart. Literally, this is a self-contained generator where it's got panels and all that kind of stuff all around it. So I tear it completely apart, check everything over, and I check the belt, and it's loose again. The bolt hasn't moved, the adjustment hasn't moved, nothing. So definitely this belt's getting stretched out and just not liking it. So I tear the fan blade apart, all that stuff. Now, I didn't do a video on that just because I was so super frustrated with that thing, because it's just a simple design to be able to blow air in there and help keep it cool. So, long story short, after I get it all torn apart, I get the new belt put on. I run it for, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours that day. Ran great. Didn't have no overheating issues. Ran great. Pulled the cover back off. Belt's super tight still. Cool. Fast forward to us leaving, and we start heading out. I basically bring the rig up to work. We park it. I go take care of some things in the site to make sure that everything's good before I go and take off. About noon, my stepson calls me and says, "Hey, generator stopped again." I'm like, "Are you serious?" Like, so I'm about the point. I'm about ready to just catch it on fire. Like, evacuate everybody out of it, catch it on fire, watch it burn, eat some popcorn, have some fun with it. I'm just joking. I'm not gonna do that. But that's how frustrated I was with it. So tore it back apart. Belt was still tight, but as soon as I turned the fan blade, you could feel it. It was slipping again. And I was like, what the heck? So tighten it just a little bit more. Maybe I didn't have it tight enough and it kind of rubbed it, because if you don't have enough tension on it, it could slip. If you have too much tension, it could slip. That's how these old V belts are. So I gave it just a little bit more tension. Felt pretty good. Probably felt solid. Started up, looked good. I was checking the blade before I put it all back together. Everything was running straight, true. Everything looked good. So put it all back together, let it run for a little bit, and lo and behold, it ran great for a few days. Didn't have any issues until, what was it, New Mexico?
Yeah.
I think it was New Mexico that we hit. And as soon as we hit New Mexico, started doing the same thing again. So by that point, I was so super frustrated with it. I was like, okay, I'm done. Tear it all back apart again, which Seth and I got really good at tearing those apart. If you guys have any advice as far as how to change a belt without having to tear it apart, let me know. The only way I could figure out how to do that was pull the top cover and the back cover and pull the whole fan shroud just to get to the belt to take it all apart. So if you guys know anything I don't know, let me know. But I got really good at that. Seth got really good at that. He helped me out. I think we could tear it apart in about 10 minutes. So we tore it all apart. And I had picked up a couple belts before that just to make sure I had the right ones. So I put a 33-inch belt, which that's what it is, 33 by 3/8 wide, which is I think I have one. No, I don't have one up here. But it just 3/8 inch wide and it's 33 inches long. So I bought one of those, and then I accidentally bought a 32-inch, which luckily I had that because I put the 33 on there and I was starting to mess with it, and I let it run for a little bit, and I was like, it was kind of more on the adjustment over to the left than what it really should be. So I was thinking about it. I was like, probably should try to put that 32 on there. So I took the 33 back off before we put it all back together. I was testing it out just to see which one's going to work best. Put the 32 on there, squeezed it on there, adjusted it. It's actually about where it should be according to the very first time I started working on this. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we're gonna test it out again. But hopefully that's all worked out now because we fired it up that day, and this was Saturday night. We fired it up. It ran all from Saturday, all day Sunday, all into the night Sunday. So it ran more than 24 hours straight, no issues. And it was running both of our air conditioners, so it definitely had a load on it. And if you guys don't know anything about generators and belts and all that kind of stuff, when you put a load on that kind of stuff, it actually puts a load on the belt too. So that's kind of why sometimes it'll cause some slippage and some other stuff. So that's pretty much the story that we got on the generator. That's where we're standing at right now. We were on the way back and haven't had any issues, knock on wood, since then. Now, we did run into another issue. So we have the trailer that we pulled behind us. And on the way back from Salt Lake City, we were cruising along, and somebody started flagging us down, and we were like, "Okay, what signal are they doing?" So they're doing like this. I didn't really know what that was. I was like, "What is this?" Like, so after kind of running a little bit, I saw another guy do it. And he was in a tow truck, and I saw him do it. I was like, "Okay, something's clearly wrong." So as the first guy passed, I was looking around. I didn't see anything abnormal. We thought maybe our step was like it came down or something, something fell off or whatever. So we're looking around and it's like nothing on the mirrors that we can see. So literally shortly after that, the tow truck driver is on my driver's side doing the same thing. And so I pull off, get to a safe area, and we're looking, and Jess is walking around, and she's like, "Yep, we got a flat tire." So the driver's side back tire picked up a screw. How none of the other ones picked it up is beyond me, but this one picked up a little screw just about that big, just enough for it to puncture into the tread and cause some damage. So, long story short, I had at one point in my trailer, and I had to have some of the tools. I had a plug kit, but for some reason I can't find it. And I'm thinking, I got the ARB one. No, I don't have the ARB one. It's in my Bronco, which my son has, and he's been using. So I was like, okay, so we need a tire plug kit to at least try to get us by for right now, because we didn't have a spare. So we went and bought a tire plug kit at the next Love's, which was a few miles down the road. Grabbed that plug kit, popped it in there, which was a pain in the butt to begin with, but we got it in there, aired it up. We decided to stay the night there because it was starting to get dark, and it was getting late. So if you guys don't know anything, the northern hemisphere part area there, as you go stay north, it gets dark at like 10 o'clock. Jess was like taking photos and videos at like 9:50, and the sun was just now getting ready to start setting, and we could see it all through the mountains and all that kind of stuff, and very pretty scenery out there. But yeah, anyways, get it plugged, get it aired up. I let it sit there overnight to make sure we're good. Wake up the next morning, do all my PM checks for the fluids, check all the tires, everything's good. Held pressure all night, so it was like cool. So we started driving that night because I decided to do a little research, kind of why I wanted to stay. I found a tire place with Tractor Supply that had a spare tire for those. So they have standard rims. Most Tractor Supplies are going to have some sort of rim section on there where you can get 5 lugs. I think they even have 4 lugs, but you can get 5 lugs, 6 lugs, and pretty much they're universal. I think most trailers are universal to the same bolt pattern. So we picked up a spare tire with the rim, and I just popped it in the trailer. Everything looked good. So then we went and started checking some stuff on the trailer again, making sure everything was good as far as tire pressure. Everything looked good. Solid still on that tire. Plugged in, looked like it moved. Everything looked like it was good. So we chugged along, started carrying on. As we're cruising down the road, everything's good. I think 4 hours? 4 hours. We were on that tire, and no issues. And we're getting ready to pass into Texas. We're in New Mexico, and as we're coming up to the border of Texas, all of a sudden I like see in my rearview mirror on the side some flapping and stuff. After I noticed this Cadillac with some hazards on, I was like, okay, so what's this guy doing? So I'm looking in the back, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, so we got some flapping. Nope, tire just went out. So I kind of figured that was going to happen. I was just kind of hoping that we'd be able to get a few more miles on it before I go and destroy it, because this is a new trailer. This trailer literally has maybe 3,000 miles on it, if that. And I was like, okay, so we pull over on the side of the road, because you really can't do that or you're going to destroy your rim, and I didn't want to do that. So I pull over as far as I can and go back there, check it out. Yep, tire shredded. And actually, I got a video of me going up there. So check this out. So this is actually the tire here. And I was doing a little bit of filming, and I was trying to be safe about it. And then to the point that I was like, okay, some of these cars are just being stupid. So we're just going to stop doing this right now. So we pulled out the other tire, but as you can see right there, pretty much tire shredded. It's pretty much gone. So we get the jack out, we get the other tire out, and as soon as we get that out, I start working on trying to jack it up. And the bottle jack's not quite tall enough. I got one of those micro 2010 bottle jacks, and wasn't quite tall enough. So I grabbed some 2x4s, started cutting them up, build me a little brace to stick up underneath it so I can get the trailer up a little bit more. And finally, it got to the point that I couldn't get it up high enough to get the new tire on. We had to drop the air in the tire and actually go down that route. Now, the reason that was so critical for me to try to get off this was, as you can see, even with me being as far over as I can, people were still zooming by, which was crazy, because like when I see people on the side of the road, especially when they're like that, I do that. I get over to the next lane all the way over, slow it down just a little bit to kind of give them a little bit of space. And Jess was out there. I told her not to be, but she was very adamant about being out there. And I just this kind of stuff here just freaks me out, because people just don't pay attention and they just don't care. There was a few times I stayed close to the trailer as much as I could, and people just went flying by here just as fast as possible, not really giving any craps about what's going on the side of the road. So this is always a dangerous situation. So make sure you guys are always trying to be safe, pay attention, and try to make sure you put yourself in a good situation, so that if something does happen, you can get out of the way pretty quick, so you don't get hurt. And if you guys are driving out there, please move. Like, come on. If you can't move, at least slow down to allow some safety. Like, don't be dumb. Okay. Give people space. Plenty of room out there. Okay. So, yeah, that was our next challenge. And after we got the new tire put on, we decided I wanted to make sure I had a spare tire on top of that. So what I do, I went and bought a replacement tire at a tire discount tire. So as we went into Texas, we got to Amarillo, found a discount tire that was open a little bit later on a Saturday, and was like, cool, let's stop there. Let's go get a tire replaced on this. It was like $120 for a new tire, but something to save in mind. So all these are D-rated tires, which are not that great to begin with, but some of the E-rated tires that are out there, the replacement tire, the spare tire I have is an E-rated. Even the replacement tire I just had put on is an E-rated, which is more for heavy duty hauling. So I'll be replacing all the tires with some E-rated tires to make sure they're just a little bit safer and they can hold up to the elements just a little bit more. So yeah. And part of all this, it goes into more as you travel and you do some of this stuff full time. So Jess and I do this full time. I am going to be traveling a little bit more, and we're working through the details as far as if I'm going to be taking the RV, if I'm going to be driving, whatever. I'm working through some details on that as far as what we're going to be doing. But I have Sturgis coming up. I'm definitely going to that. I made that commitment with my brother. We're actually going to stay in the RV for that period of time, because it is a lot cheaper when you go to Sturgis and you find a campground that you can actually stay in, based off of not having to pay for a hotel. Some of these hotels, they're like $1,000 a night. Like Sturgis is like, It is the only reason I really like going to Sturgis the most is the ride. If you've never been to the Black Hills Mountains, you have to go there. They have some of the most beautiful rides, some of the most awesome scenery, the trees, everything. Just they got some really cool stuff out there. And plus, there's like multiple national parks out there, especially the. I just lost my train of thought. Ah, which national park is that with the? Oh, Mount Rushmore. Sorry, lost my train of thought. I was like, what the heck? So Mount
vacation brain.
it ain't vacation brain because I'm just getting back and we were actually working and stuff. So, um, but yeah, Mount Rushmore is something really cool to go see. If you guys never been there, make that trip. If you guys are doing it in an RV, whether you guys are driving through the area, whether you're doing motorcycle rides, whatever, we will be out there again. My brother and I are going to be cruising around the Black Hills, checking everything out again. I think that's the most that I like the most. I've been to Daytona. Daytona's cool. There's nowhere to ride. I'm not gonna lie. There's nowhere to ride in Florida besides just riding along the coast, which is cool the first few times because you get the nostalgia of the ocean or Gulf, but it's still part of the ocean. Big body of water, sand, beach, all that kind of stuff. You get that, but then all of a sudden you do it so many times, it's like, well, what are you going to do now and ride? So now I'm going to be heading up towards Alabama section, go hit up some of those mountains. That's why we went up to the Smoky Mountains. I wanted to be able to ride in those areas. I wanted to go hit up Tail of the Dragon. I want to be able to do that kind of stuff. We actually, for the video Thursday, you guys are going to see, we went down to Ophir, Utah, which is an old mining town. So 1870 is when it was formed, and that was like actually where they found some silver ore and I think some copper ore and some other stuff out there. And it was a cool area. I could tell you there was all sorts of old relics there. There was all sorts of other stuff there, as far as how they used to live, as far as some original houses, the school, and some of the other stuff. So definitely look into that. It's not considered a ghost town because it's still an active community. But we are going to try to visit more ghost towns out west since I'll be working in Salt Lake City for a little bit. And I'm going to try to take the bike out there more. I have Bonnie out there in a storage unit right now because I'm actually planning on using that to ride around out in the mountain area for right now. But we'll see. I don't know. Diamond might be going out there, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So, but that leads into this whole thing of if you guys are going to be traveling, that's kind of where I first really started to, but it was like squirrel. So when you travel as a couple and a family, everybody sees it on YouTube. Everybody's going to look at YouTube and be like, oh, this is glamorous. Oh, check it out. They're always smiling. They're always laughing. Wrong. I can tell you that right now. That is not every day for every family on YouTube. If they say they're always happy and they're always smiling and they have no bad days, I call bull. Okay. Everybody that travels is going to run into problems one point or another. They're going to have issues. They're going to have all sorts of breakdowns and frustrations and just all sorts of other things. What you have to remember when you travel as a family and as a couple and everything else, and people always ask us, how do you do it? Is patience. You're going to have your frustrating days, but remember this. Your bad days and frustrating days can be fixed. If you don't work on them, you don't fix them, have the patience, you'll never live in this lifestyle. And this is a lifestyle that we decided to choose because I like this. I like the nomadic lifestyle of being able to go pick up and travel wherever we want. And Jess does too. I think she's a little bit more different where she gets frustrated very easily on some of this stuff because she doesn't expect all the breakdowns. She sees some of the YouTube videos. She sees some of the other commentary stuff that they do like on Instagram and everything else. I can tell you right now, that's all fluffed up stuff. Yes, I do the same thing. I make it look glamorous, but I can promise you it is not. It does take work. It takes patience. It takes understanding because when you come from a sticks and bricks kind of environment, which we did, we owned a house for 10 years and we lived sticks and bricks, enjoyed it, had furniture, had the car payments, had all that kind of stuff, and decided to start breaking it down where we didn't have all that. We wanted to simplify our life a little bit. And now that we actually have the RV, we have the trailer that we could pull with, who has the boys' room back there. And recently we bought a Mini Cooper that we can take with us. So now we have wheels. last few times in Salt Lake City, we had to rent a car. Up in Tennessee, we had to rent a car because we just had no ways around. I have a way around. I can ride my bike everywhere, but if I'm not by myself, how is everybody else going to get around? If it's just me and Jess, we both can ride the bike. But we want to include our kids, not just Logan and Seth with this, but my kids as well too. So when they come and visit, we want to be able to take them places and stuff. So we got the Mini Cooper. I'm going to show Jess how to drive it. It's a stick shift and go from there. And yeah, I think this is going to be something really cool for us to be able to do and go explore and give us more options. Um, but we got a couple hurdles that we got to kind of work through over the next few months as I made a commitment with work as far as doing a few things that I want to try to help the company I work for, help them out with kind of going to the next level and kind of fixing a couple things that are going on and whatnot. So it's not a permanent thing. A lot of people think that just because you volunteer for something, it means it's always going to be a permanent thing. It is not. It's something, just a detour, something I got to do. I'm going to step it up, do what I need to. I'm still going to do YouTube, still push all this kind of stuff and do my own thing on the side and go from there. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to still continue to do lives. I know I've missed the live last a few weeks, and I'm going to try to really make sure I do that every single week moving forward. Now, some of the other stuff that we're going to be working on is we're going to like this here. We got this all tied into YouTube and Facebook right now. For some reason, I can't get it to work on Instagram. I'm working on that so I can tie that in as well. And then I'm going to do that with TikTok and some of the other stuff. I heard that the other day. I thought it was so cool, so I had to kind of share it. So, yeah. If you guys are liking the content, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and sharing because you know something, we're trying to get out there. Without that, we'll never grow. That's helping us hack the algorithm for YouTube. We say hack because we want people to feel special about it because you kind of are. The more you guys share, the more you guys comment, the more you guys do all this kind of stuff and interact with our videos and do that kind of stuff, the more we can bring to you guys. So like the video coming out Thursday when we go to Joe Fair, we want to share that kind of stuff. We went to a pretty cool little isolated restaurant that was literally in the middle of the desert, just in the middle, nowhere, nothing else out there. It was kind of cool. We stopped there. We had some lunch after we went to the mining town, and then we head back. It was a nice ride, and I'm looking forward to more of that kind of stuff because that's the freedom of the United States as far as us being able to go and do this kind of stuff. You can do it very cheap. You don't have to spend a lot of money to do this kind of stuff. A lot of the stuff that you want to do is right in your backyard. Just go out, have some fun, enjoy it, and do some history as far as what's in your area. You know, down here in the Southeast, there's a lot of Civil War stuff, and we're going to be hitting up some of that stuff and checking out some of the Confederate stuff. And there's a whole history here that we just don't know about. We know some of it from the history books from us learning it in school, but how many of you guys know about some of the towns that were here and some of the slavery? And I actually heard the other day, did you know that slavery wasn't abolished until recently in Mississippi on some of the stuff? And it was only put that way because people started paying some of the races and stuff for doing that. Now this is slavery for all types of races, white, Hispanics, all that kind of stuff. So take that into mind because it's not just African Americans that were slaves. There's all sorts of slaves out there. It just depends. Plus, in the last 100 years, women's rights and everything, and that's all going to be stuff that we don't really try to talk about, but it's part of history that we want to kind of bring a little bit about that around. So I think that's pretty much it. We've kind of been rambling for the last half hour, but hey, you know, we had a great trip. We did. As much as it was frustrating, I enjoyed it a lot. I'm looking forward to more of them. I know Jess is still a little shooken up and frustrated because, you know, sometimes some of these people that drive are just, we're going to say it, they're buttheads. They are. They don't care about anybody but themselves on the road, and that can be very dangerous when it comes to stuff. So be kind, share the road, be humble. There's plenty of road out there for everybody to share. If you're in a hurry, slow down, leave a little earlier, make it better for yourself and everybody else around you, and make it safer for everybody. So hope to see you guys on the next Monday Night Live, and I got some more videos coming out, like I said, as far as the different things we're doing. If you guys are just curious on the generator stuff, I am going to be putting more together on that, and you guys will see here kind of how this all works. So this is an Onan generator, and this is basically the cover that goes on the top that I was talking about. And then the fan shroud is actually back here with the belt. And I don't know if I actually get closer to that or not. Probably not. But you can see that this is pretty complex on trying to work on. So if you guys are wanting more information, comment down below. I'm going to try to do a video because I'm going to open it back up again. I'm going to check the belts because now that I've narrowed down what the problem is, either I got a pulley issue, I got a bearing issue, I got an alternator issue, I got a water pump issue. If it continues to slip and destroy some of these belts, I have a bigger issue I got to go to identify and try to narrow down why it keeps doing that. So that'll be the next project I start working on as I start working through some of this stuff. But for right now, it's working, and we're going to keep running it until it stops and proves us wrong. If it fixes it for a while, good, great. If not, I'm going to start digging deeper into figuring out what's going on with it because that's kind of essential. Now, that was a learning curve for us for this trip because a lot of our stuff on the Monacos, they go through the inverter, but they don't throw the air conditioners on the inverter because it's only a 3,000 watt inverter that we got down there. So learned a lot. I'm gonna do some vamps, do some rewiring, do some changes, and I'm thinking about adding a second inverter and a second bank of batteries to run strictly the air conditioners. And the alternator I actually have in back, I think it's about 260 amps if the model number matches up correctly from what I've been looking at. If that's the case, then that'll definitely help power that. But plus, throwing up on the roof, since we're in the south and we're going to some sunny areas, we're going to throw some more solar up there, and that will definitely help with charging and running the air conditioners, even running down the road, charging up the batteries, keeping all that kind of stuff charged up so that we can utilize less diesel fuel and more sunlight and renewable energy to kind of help power that kind of stuff. So we'll see you guys on the next one, and be safe and humble out there. So ride safe if you guys are on the bikes, and let us know if you guys have seen that Bike Riders movie. If you haven't, check it out, and then let me know what you guys think about it. See you on the next one. Peace.